They say fate has a strange sense of timing, and Avery learned the truth the moment the universe shifted beneath her feet. The morning rush of downtown Seattle faded into a dull blur as she stepped inside the cafe, brushing raindrops from her coat. She had come for a blind date, something her best friend insisted would change her life. She expected awkward introductions, maybe a polite smile, nothing more. What she didn't expect was the boy who once held her heart sitting alone at a corner table as if time had folded in on itself. Noah. 7 years had passed since he disappeared from her world with a single text that shattered her future. 7 years since she learned how to rebuild herself, piece by trembling piece. And yet, here he was, calmer, older, dressed in a soft gray shirt that made the light fall gently across his face, as if even the sun wasn't sure how to greet him. Avery froze, her breath catching, memories flooding her chest like an unexpected storm. This moment, she realized, felt like a scene from a story she once titled The Day Fate Returned. She could walk out. She could pretend the universe hadn't just played the cruelest, most beautiful trick on her. She could call her friend later and laugh about the blind date she, accidentally, skipped. But her feet refused to move. Whether it was anger, heartbreak, or the ache of unfinished chapters, something held her in place. Slowly, with trembling hands she tried to steady, Avery walked toward the table. Noah's eyes lifted just in time, shock flickering across his face, followed by something softer, recognition, regret, maybe an echo of the affection they once shared. His fingers tightened around his coffee mug as if grounding himself in reality. For a long moment, neither spoke. The cafe buzzed with steaming machines and murmured conversations, but their small corner felt suspended outside of time, filled with years of unspoken apologies and unanswered questions. Avery finally took the empty seat. Her voice felt trapped somewhere inside her chest, but she forced a steady breath. She didn't come here to reopen old wounds. She came here to move forward. To grow. To start over. Yet life never cared much for the stories we try to end. It cared for the unresolved ones. Their conversation began small, almost painfully careful. They talked about the rain, the morning rush, Seattle's obsession with coffee. She kept her shoulders stiff, her guard high, her heart fiercely armored. But beneath their simple words lived 100 unsaid things. Then Noah's voice shifted, quieter, heavier. He told her about his father's sudden illness all those years ago. The chaos, the fear, the move he never prepared for. He admitted he handled everything wrong, shutting her out instead of letting her help. He thought pushing her away would protect her from the weight he was drowning under. Avery sat still, listening. Not interrupting, not accusing, just listening, because deep down she realized she'd been waiting years to finally hear the truth. It didn't erase the pain. It didn't magically heal everything. But it gave shape to the wound. And sometimes, understanding is the doorway to letting go. As minutes slipped into an hour, something inside her began to soften. She found herself remembering the boy he had been, the kindness in his voice, the sincerity in his laughter, the way he once looked at her like she wasn't something to fix but someone already whole. They weren't the same people anymore. They weren't teenagers dreaming too big and too fast. They were adults with scars, losses, regrets, and lessons carved painfully into their hearts. And strangely, that made the space between them feel steadier, more real. Rain tapped softly against the cafe windows, turning the city outside into a watercolor. Avery felt something loosen inside her, a knot she didn't realize she'd been carrying. Maybe it was forgiveness, maybe closure, or maybe the gentle beginning of something new. Whatever it was, it allowed her to breathe again. They drifted into lighter topics, their careers, their routines, the quiet joys they'd learned to cherish. They laughed at old memories without reopening the wounds tied to them. Avery realized she no longer felt the sting of the past, just gratitude for the growth it forced in her. Noah didn't ask for a second chance. He didn't push for something more. He simply asked if they could meet again, not as lovers, not with expectations, but as two people rediscovering each other from a place of strength. Avery hesitated only for a moment, not from fear but from reflection. She had grown. She had rebuilt herself. She had learned to stand on her own. And only someone who had healed could offer forgiveness without losing herself. When she finally rose to leave, Noah stood too. They stepped into the soft drizzle outside, the gray Seattle sky wrapping them in a gentle calm. For the first time in years, she walked away without the weight of old heartbreak dragging behind her. She didn't know what the future held. She didn't know if their paths would cross again or drift apart. But she finally felt peace, and with it, a quiet spark of hope. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And before you go, tell me in the comments, would you give a second chance to someone who once broke you? Dash dash dash.